If you find yourself regularly contemplating about how shit your life is, well, maybe this one's for you. There's a Buddhist concept called impermanence, which postulates that everything in life is subject to change, that everything changes, nothing stays the same, and that so much of our suffering is a consequence of us trying to keep things the same, keep things as they are, create certainty, and exert control where we have none. Along with our poor concept of the changeability and transience of life, we have an availability bias which works against us frequently. And this is basically our tendency to grasp onto the most recent piece of information that we have received and extrapolate it onto a far broader scope than it is actually relevant to. And we see this in the way that we view our own lives, but also in the way that we perceive others. So, for example, if you're having a bad day, oftentimes it can turn into a narrative of a bad week, a bad year, and all of a sudden your life just sucks. Or if somebody pisses you off, you can create a narrative of them always doing something like this, and it must mean that they don't like you. And again, you create this extremely negative construct that is not beneficial nor accurate. As if that wasn't enough, we have what is referred to as a negativity bias. Now, this is an evolutionary adaptation that is basically designed to keep us alive. I mean, our brains are like Velcro for negativity and Teflon for positivity. However, that being said, what it results in is this niggling dissatisfaction with life that we can't put our finger on. And this oftentimes perpetuates this hedonic treadmill of happiness. We're continuously seeking something that will give us that long-term contentment, and unfortunately it's just not available externally, and yet we keep consuming, we keep trying to change aspects of ourselves, keep trying to transform our lives in the hope that we're going to get there, because at some stage along the line we acquire this belief that ongoing happiness is actually attainable. Now, without awareness, these biases can actually drive us into a place of low self-worth, complete and utter despair, because we assume that it's just our lives that are completely dissatisfactory, and we are convinced that there's some solution that we're just missing, that everybody else has it sorted, and that can make us feel very hopeless, and it contributes to very low self-worth and can eventually lead to depression and anxiety through a continuous path of negative rumination and a sense of the future being bleak. Now, contrary to a lot of the self-help information out there, positive affirmations and thinking isn't all that beneficial to you. What you can do is work on your relationship with uncertainty and on your capacity to tolerate and regulate negative emotions. And this is incorporating that whole concept of impermanence. It's recognizing that sometimes bad things happen in life, but they don't last forever. And the more resilient you are, the more capable you are of tolerating some of the more negative emotions that you're going to inevitably experience in life, the more likely you are to transcend them and come out the other side a more robust person. It's also recognizing the trappings of the hedonic treadmill, understanding that whilst everyone wants to sell happiness, everyone wants to sell life satisfaction, that unfortunately oftentimes it is created internally. It's about finding meaning and purpose and clarity and humility and integrity, living a life of value as opposed to assuming that your life has to look valuable. If you would like to work on self-acceptance or self-awareness, if you find yourself bogged down by the dissatisfaction at your life, then get in touch with me on the website. It's fundamentals.ie.